Alright, Kettlebell WOD Nation, first video analysis. I'm going to one take this business, so if I sound like an idiot, live with it. It's free. Hopefully got some other guys chiming in, more knowledgeable than I am, but I'm going to give my take on this, hopefully help you out a little bit. We're going to keep things simple, just looking at two little things. Of course, this is Rudnev, so you could spend all day talking about what he's doing. He's one of the best. But again, just two really quick, simple things that will hopefully translate to more efficient movement. And of course, you move more efficiently, bigger numbers, you can go the distance. We're going to look at overhead position, and then we're going to look at the descent of the kettlebell from the overhead position. If you take a look at his arm and the kettlebell overhead, we've got this entire system here where everything is held in a straight line. Shoulder, elbow, forearm, hand, kettlebell, everything's in a straight line. One of the big mistakes you see people make overhead is that they're using the grip of the hand to fixate that kettlebell, and that's really the wrong idea. We have to use that entire structure of the arm to support that kettlebell overhead. And what that's going to do is, of course, if that kettlebell is braced against bones, against multiple muscles, against multiple joints, it's going to be a more efficient position at the top. If I could zoom in here, I would. But not only is his arm and his elbow in a straight line, but that wrist is also in a straight line. Here you've got the kettlebell handle resting in the base of the palm of the hand, and the kettlebell is braced against the back of the forearm. Notice how his hand is open. This is a part of the snatch where you can give your grip a break. Experiment as you're snatching at the top to open that hand to make sure it's relaxed as possible. This is going to help make your snatch the most efficient. Relaxed when it can be relaxed, tense when it has to be tense. If you go through your entire set with that death grip on the handle, you're going to smoke your grip. You're going to last 2 minutes. You're going to get 25 repetitions. You're never going to be able to break that ceiling because that grip is just getting toasted every single day. So everything's in a straight line. Again, here, I don't know what that line is doing there. Sorry. Everything's in a straight line. Hand, wrist, elbow, shoulder. Hand is open up overhead. Here's a couple in real time. Notice how that grip is open at the top. Good. Sometimes Jeff Martone at the top would say you're punching the hand through at the top. That's going to get that kettlebell to rotate around the forearm to get it in a good position against the back of the arm. Moving on to the descent of the kettlebell from the overhead. It's a little bit more zoomed in here, so this is going to be good for that. And we're going to see a side view in just a second, which is going to be even better. He's not going to use any muscle to pull that kettlebell down from overhead. We don't have to because we've got gravity in our side. So you're going to see him move back, and then as he's moving his upper body back, his torso back, he's going to corkscrew that arm and that kettlebell to the front. Slow motion here. Get it in position. Oh, I don't know why we're zooming out, but we're zooming out. We'll still be able to see it. You notice he's starting his lean back here. He's leaning, and that torso and that arm starts to rotate. If you take a look at his elbow is facing us, so we know that that torso and that arm is twisting. Now that's going to displace the kettlebell. Well, it's going to keep the kettlebell over our center of gravity, but the rest of you is backwards, and that's going to displace a little bit of the balance, and that's going to make the kettlebell start to fall. This is awesome because we're not exacting any effort on the bell. It's just going to start falling on its own. He's going to pull in towards the body. That's going to keep it nice and tight. We'll talk about that more when we get to the side view. Notice how his body is still upright, still upright. The arm starts to make contact with the body, and now he's going to lean forward. Okay. If we've got too much space between the arm and the body, that grip is the only thing that's supporting the weight of the kettlebell. So we want as much contact with the arm and the body as possible at the bottom of that swing. Show a couple in real time, and then we'll get to the side view. Alright, side view. So we've got this straight line system. Here you've got a little bit of a bend. Sorry, that line's a little bit crooked. This is free, don't forget. You've got a little bit of bend in the arm, but obviously this is Rudnev, and he's awesome, so he can do what he wants. Ideally, you're trying to straighten everything. You don't want anything bent. You don't want unnecessary muscle tension. Everybody's structure is a little bit different. So everybody has different flexibilities and things like that. So you've got to play around with it a little bit to find your most relaxed, efficient position. This guy could snatch for a week straight like this. So awesome. But I want to key in there at the wrist and the hand. At the top, notice how his grip is not broken backwards. It's nicely braced. It's resting in the hand and against the forearm. He's not using any grip here to fixate up at the top. Okay, so now we're going to watch the descent. A little slow motion here. You see his head is starting to lead his body backwards. He's leaning, and as he's leaning, that arm is corkscrewing to the front. Now, if you watch the descent of the kettlebell, he's keeping that kettlebell as close to his body as he can. Notice it's following the straight path down. I'm going to zoom back, break out my little yellow line tool. He's keeping that kettlebell as close to that straight line as he can. The further that kettlebell is away from your body, the more grip is going to be necessary at the bottom to control that swing. And so you want that kettlebell as close to the system as possible. Take a look at his elbow. This is one of the cues that you can key in on. He's tucking that elbow in towards his body. Notice how his kettlebell's in line with this body. Also, as long as you're looking there, notice how much of a lean you've got going on here. That's the kind of lean that you need. Otherwise, that kettlebell is going to be too far out in front. You're going to need lots of muscle to keep that thing in balance. That's not what we want. So you're pulling that kettlebell in towards that straight line. Get rid of my line so you can see it again. Lean back and corkscrew. Notice how close that kettlebell is to his body in that descent. So there you go. Two things. I mean, again, we could look all day at a bunch of different stuff, but just experiment this week on those two. That grip position up at the top, that it's resting in the hand and against the forearm, and then you're dropping it by leaning back and corkscrewing to the front. So try those things out as you snatch this week. Good luck.